What's up, guys?
I'm Jake.
And I'm Tyler.
And welcome back to
Spirits with Spirits.
So this week, we set up a poll to see what you guys wanted to see.
And by an overwhelming margin, you selected Missing 411.
But before we get started, as per tradition, we need to introduce today's spirit.
So today's spirit is going to be Pirate's Blood, which is a honey wine with chili peppers mead.
This could be either really good or really bad. And I'm a little scared to find out, but we gotta do it. Don't look too deep into the name. We're not discussing pirates today. We mainly just got this because it's a skull and it looks pretty freaking cool.
Good glasswork right there.
Ooh, is it blue?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Sniff test. That's insane. Smell this, please.
Okay, this might actually be pretty good.
This is insane.
I was worried about the chili peppers, but...
I'm actually still worried. Pirate's Blood going in.
Clink.
Oh, whoa!
That's
That's
spicy.
hot. Like, we thought the spicy tequila was a little hot. Yo, this is insane.
I feel like I just drank hot sauce.
It feels like I'm drinking hot sauce. Wow. This is a flavor, all right.
That is.
Whew. Oh.
Like the initial taste is not spicy,
And then it just
but
starts
then
burning.
as soon as you swallow it and get air into your mouth,
Mouth is on fire right
game
now.
over.
This is insane. I've never tasted anything like this. It does just taste like hot sauce. Well,
Dang. Are we gonna rate it now? I think I'm ready. Let's get into this. I'm gonna bring my water over.
on to the video.
All right, everybody. After we've had that amazing drink, we have been delivered some top secret information. Missing 411. So let's break open this case study and figure out what we've got working with. Missing 411.
What exactly is it?
That's what you're probably asking yourself. Unless you already know what it is, we're going to give you a brief summary, synopsis. So Missing 411 is a series of books and documentaries by David Paulides. Paulides? Paulides.
Paulides. I don't know.
I think it's Paulides. Is a series of books and documentaries by David Paulides that investigate mysterious disappearances of people in wilderness areas across North America and beyond. Paulides, a former law enforcement officer, meticulously documents cases where individuals vanish under strange and inexplicable circumstances, often leaving behind little...
Bro, I just smelled it and it doesn't smell good.
Not good. It's an amazing drink though, guys. Don't worry, wait for a rating at the end.
It smells like smoke.
Good smoke though. Often leaving behind little to no evidence. The disappearances defy conventional explanations, as many of the missing individuals were experienced outdoor enthusiasts or professionals who disappeared in the areas they were familiar with. The cases typically involve clusters of disappearances in specific geographical locations and regions. The Missing 411 series has sparked widespread interest and speculation about the possible causes of these vanishings, ranging from natural hazards to, where we come in, paranormal phenomena.
Yes, sir.
However, despite extensive investigations and search efforts, many of these cases remain unsolved, leaving families and investigators with lingering questions and mysteries. That's, in a nutshell, what Missing 411 is.
And obviously, like, these are real cases, real life people, so like obviously, and
We're gonna go into specifics, so if you don't want to listen to that sort of thing, then click away now. If you do,
let's
stick
get
around.
into it.
Yeah, let's break open these case studies. Let's figure out what's going on. So first off the bat, we're gonna be talking about Dennis Martin. Who is Dennis Martin?
Well, I'll tell you. So Dennis Martin is a 6-year-old resident of Knoxville, Tennessee, and was visiting the Great Smoky Mountains National Park alongside his father, grandfather, and older brother on Father's Day weekend in 1969. So Dennis Martin kind of wanted to play a little prank, a little joke, if you will.
Yeah, as 6-year-olds would do, I'd say.
And he wanted to essentially jump out of a bush with some of the other children that they were all camping with and scare the adults, as you do. Now, unfortunately, this is where he was last seen.
Yes.
His father noted him going behind a bush around 4:30 in the afternoon, and that was it. Disappeared from there on. His father went searching for him after not being able to find him. He searched for about 2 miles around the campsite, and after several hours, they called the National Park Rangers for more help. Shortly after his disappearance, rainfall, dropping 3 inches of rain in just a matter of hours. All of this rain caused temperatures to drop, got rid of any tracks that could potentially be there, and caused a lot of streams and rivers to flood, which really just made the whole situation even messier.
This area where Martin disappeared was actually marked by steep slopes and ravines, and obviously wild animals since they're in the wilderness with copperhead snakes, coyotes, feral hogs, bobcats, you name it. So it made finding him that much more imperative.
So they got the National Guard and the Green Berets involved to conduct a search with over 1,400 people. They were able to find some footprints leading directly to a stream. Oddly enough, one foot was barefoot and the other one had a shoe on, which linked to Martin's shoe. Obviously, that didn't lead to anything because the footprints led to a stream, and after that, there were no more footprints. Over the span of 8 days, they covered about 56 miles, but ultimately, it was abandoned June 29th after a final search. And as of today, it is still the biggest search ever conducted in the Great Smoky Mountains.
So there are 3 main theories as to what potentially happened to Dennis Martin that day. The first being that he succumbed to exposure to being in the wilderness at such a young age and passed away shortly after going missing. The second is that he was potentially attacked by a hungry bear and was carried off. The third theory is that he was abducted and taken out of the park by someone or something.
So this theory was one that his father actually truly believes in. On the night of Martin's disappearance, another tourist camping family in the park heard a loud, sickening, crazed scream and did see a very disheveled man running up one of the trails. The man, after screaming, did get into a white van and drive off, which in itself is terrifying and very scary. But park rangers decided to kind of dismiss this theory because it was 5 miles away from where Martin disappeared, and there weren't really many trails linking the 2 sites.
So let's discuss some theories.
Obviously, this is a very tragic case. I mean, a young child going missing on a vacation with his family. It's never something you want to see or hear about, and I wish the family could have got closure in some way, but there are so many possibilities as to what could have actually happened to him.
My curiosity is how deep that stream was or how powerful the current is.
Yeah.
Because with those footsteps leading directly to the stream, he could have possibly been swept away by a powerful current and end up who knows where.
Or potentially drowning.
Exactly. So I think it would be interesting to see like what the conditions of that stream were, especially with how heavy the rain was.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
It could have been a flash flood scenario.
Absolutely.
Or something like that. So maybe he went into the woods deeper to try to scare his family, just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and flash flood came through, especially with steep mountainous areas. Flash flooding is a known thing that happens, so I think that's a potential culprit right there.
Now, this case is obviously very tragic, but there are so many more just like it, especially in national parks. And this leads a lot of people to start believing in other potential theories that could lead to paranormal reasonings.
With this one, I mean, how did he get from one point to the next, and how did he completely disappear? Paranormal-wise, what could be in the woods that would do something like that? How would...
I mean, we did talk about a certain thing in our last video that some people have equated to a lot of these missing cases.
Yeah.
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
A creature similar to Skinwalker or Wendigo that we don't know the name of. Or was it Bigfoot?
Bigfoot. He decided to become violent. I don't know. There's a lot of questions definitely with this one. I would love to learn more about this case and kind of dig more into potential theories and perhaps his father's theory is the one, and perhaps that Dennis Martin is actually still alive and just doesn't know who he is.
A lot of theories. Let us know what you think about this specific case.
And before we get into the next one, remember, while you're down in that comment section, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell because we post
sometimes.
Yeah, we post sometimes, and you might want to watch another video. So
you might want to watch us drink this pirate blood.
Yeah, and rating at the end. If this video gets 10 likes, we will
10.
We'll drink the whole bottle. Oh, 20 likes.
We never gave our rating for the Kraken in the last
Oh,
episode.
Kraken? Man, that's a hands down like 8-2.
That's not bad.
8-2, 8-1.
I'm gonna rate it based off of its ability to mix, and I'll
Yeah.
also give it 8.2, 8.3.
Yeah, by itself, it's smooth. It tastes good.
Not like this.
No.
You guys gotta try it.
So next up, we have Glen and Bessie Hyde. So Glen and Bessie Hyde were newlyweds who disappeared while attempting to run the rapids of the Colorado River through Grand Canyon, Arizona in 1928. Had the couple succeeded, Bessie Hyde would have been the first woman to accomplish this feat.
Big stakes.
Yep. Now this story kind of goes back to how we discussed in the beginning, where missing 411, it's people that are well-versed and experienced in outdoors and are outdoors people. Both Bessie and Glen were experienced river runners.
They were trying to set a new time.
Yeah,
they were
like
trying
they're
to
trying to
hit
set a
the
world
records.
record.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not novice. They were last seen Sunday, November 18th in 1928. So this is a while ago. This is almost 100 years ago at this point. They were last seen at the South Rim, and they approached photographer Emery Culp at a studio where they were photographed as they were returning down into the canyon. A search was launched by Glen's father, Roland, on December 6th of 1928. On December 19th, so 13 days later, a search plane spotted their boat adrift around mile 237. It was fully intact and upright and had plenty of supplies for survival. And along with these supplies, they found a camera and a journal, which further supported the investigation and their search. In the camera recovered from the boat, it was discovered that the last known picture was taken around mile 165, and it was probably taken around November 27th. Also, the journal that was found, Bessie documented that they made it to around mile 231. No trace of the hides have ever been found since.
This case, weirdly enough, led to a lot of impersonation theories. People would come out and say that they were Bessie Hyde. For example, there was an elderly woman in 1971 on a Grand Canyon rafting trip. How's that taste?
Not good.
Who claims during this boating trip that she was the real Bessie Hyde. She also claimed that she stabbed her abusive husband to death and escaped.
Which is unlike what was known of Glen Hyde.
There's another story of a famed rafter, Georgie Clark, who people believe that she could have actually been the real Bessie Hyde. After her death, they found documents and a pistol that somehow related to Bessie, but a lot of Georgie's early life is well documented and it just doesn't really link up.
The skeletal remains of a young male were found on the canyon rim in 1976 with a bullet hole inside the skull. These remains were later proved to not be Glen Hyde. However, this is significant because these remains were found on the property of their photographer.
He was one of the last people to see them alive.
Though in 2008, after a donation of multiple documents and photographs given to the Grand Canyon Museum collection, the remains were found to be that of an unidentified suicide victim.
Obviously, anything can happen when you're in the wilderness. The interesting thing is their boat was fine, but they could have stopped to make camp and something could have happened. But again, their remains were never found.
The thing that I find intriguing, though, is in the research, it was actually a historian, Otis Marston, says mile marker 232, which is a mile after the last documented location in the journal, is known to be filled with pieces of granite that are submerged in that area. So he believes that they could have potentially hit one of these, and it may not have damaged the boat, but if they flung forward out, that could potentially have knocked them out and sent them down the rapids. I feel like that lead to another question, though, is why would there not have been a body found?
Yeah, and I feel like it would be unlikely that at the same time, both of them flew off and hit their heads or something like that.
Right.
Like, I would assume one of them would be at least good enough to move out of the rapids or at least have a body showing, you know, like it is interesting that their bodies were never found.
So being on such a small boat, I could see how a piece of granite would fling them off. But like you said, I feel like that would be not likely for both of them to be knocked unconscious or both of them to have been killed by this impact. There would have been at least remains found.
Absolutely. Another interesting missing disappearance. How did this happen? Why were there no remains? And why did it happen in another national park?
Right. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys think of any theories that you might think of Bessie and Glen Hyde. So final story. Now, this one is very paranormal based, I would say. The other two, you could probably write it off as
Natural event, they got hurt, they got swept away.
Hurt. This one,
A little different.
a little more on the paranormal edge.
So this is the story of Alfred Beilhartz, maybe Beilhartz? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but this was a young boy who disappeared in 1938 in the Rocky Mountain National Park. Like the first story, this is a boy with his family in the mountains on vacation. They are at Estes Park, like the Estes method, origin, and they're there mainly just to fish, have a good time. The story of the disappearance isn't anything crazy. He was hiking with his parents, fell behind a little bit, and disappeared. And that was that, never to be seen again. Obviously, park rangers were called, they searched the area. The park rangers thought that he could have drowned in a creek, so they even dammed the creek and dragged it to make sure that his body was or wasn't there. And sure enough, no signs of the boy. The search continued on land. They even brought in dogs to try and sniff out the scent of the boy. No luck. After 10 days, unfortunately, they called the search off, and that was the end of the story.
So now let's get into possible sightings, and this is where it gets interesting. One sighting was by two kids that saw him while traveling in the park. They saw him next to the river crying, and then he fell, and it appeared that he was dragged by something into the forest. Other hikers in a different part of the park claimed that they saw a small boy on an elevation called Devil's Nest on Mount Chapin. According to this...
We've guessed.
Hello.
Trust me, you don't want that.
According to the sighting, the boy sat on the edge of an elevation for several minutes before being jerked back by someone off to the side.
So again, 2 stories in a row of different people seeing him pulled away by something.
The identity of this person had never been established, so these hikers contacted the park officials who sent climbers to the cliff top. Also keep in mind, they had to send climbers to this cliff top. He's a young boy.
It's incredibly unlikely that he would have been able to climb and get to that level of elevation that they saw him at.
With no equipment, no experience climbing, you have to be an experienced climber to get to this point.
It just doesn't make sense.
Right, so how would a young boy have gotten to that point? So sometime after that search, he was supposedly sighted walking on the side of the road with a man in Nebraska.
After all these searches, there were a few things that came up. They found a bandage that could have been his that was tested. There was also a ransom note that came in to the parents, which
was a hoax.
Is a hoax and is awful. That's terrible. And Alfred's father actually believes that he was abducted and is still alive. Again, a very strange national park disappearance with no body ever found.
And little to no evidence behind as to what happened to that individual.
This one is very intriguing because of the multiple sightings to see him being dragged by something.
Right. Not only dragged, but unlikely places.
Unlikely places, and nobody ever said they saw a person dragging him.
They just saw that he was dragged. That kind of gets into the paranormal aspect of what could have done this. How did he get to a point where you need climbing gear and experience to get to a cliff top as a young boy? Obviously, even if somebody abducted him with climbing gear, it'd be very difficult for you to get a boy up to a cliff. And what would be the point of that?
It doesn't make any sense. For all we know, the sightings could have not been true, but it is weird that different sources saw similar things in different places. It's all very confusing.
My curiosity would be how legit those sightings were and how far apart they were too.
Was he actually being abducted by a human, or was something scaring him that maybe wasn't human? These are just 3 cases, and there are so many more of disappearances in national parks.
We haven't even scratched the surface with this. These have been 3 stories that are brief synopsises and some theories, but there's a lot deeper of a rabbit hole. We could probably talk on each of these stories an hour apiece. There's so much that goes into these missing 411 cases. I believe there's a documentary.
Let us know what you think about these cases. Obviously, like we said, we just scratched the surface of them, but there's so many more. There's so many weird theories about it all. So let us know what you think about each individual case.
And let us know if you want to go more in depth. If you want us to go more in depth in these cases, we could definitely pull up more research, and there's thousands of stories out there.
There really is.
Just let us know.
But now, for the moment you've all been waiting for.
Since we first tasted this.
Our rating of Pirate's Blood, the honey wine with chili peppers added.
Should we give this another taste?
No.
Before we rate
Okay,
it?
sure. One final taste.
Yeah. So, still terrible.
Hey, it's so bad. I've got my rating.
I think I have my rating as well. I will give this a 1.2.
Wow, I was gonna be a little nicer and I was gonna say a 2.9, but I mean, even that, it's not good. It's a distinct flavor.
Yes.
Very unique. You're not gonna find this in any other mead or wine or whatever. It just doesn't hit.
No, I'm never gonna purchase this again. If you like spicy alcohol, that might actually be something you would be interested in.
It's a smoky, spicy, sweet barbecue hot sauce taste in a mead/wine. If you're into it,
I mean,
check it out. Sick ass bottle.
Yeah, really cool bottle. Not the taste, not great, but that's okay.
That is going to wrap our episode of Spirits with Spirits. Let us know what you think. Let us know your theories in the comments, and let us know what we should react to next time.
Yeah, and also, if you know of any spirit-related alcohols, we want to know, and we want to try it, and we want to rate it.
But until next time, we'll see you later.
Peace out.